So in this video I'm going to show you how we are going to fill in our karyotyping grid with all of our homologous chromosomes. The first thing I've done, I've taken this part of the grid and I've cut that off, and I've glued this into my notebook paper. I'm going to save this for later, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get started on this. Now, karyotyping is when you take all of the chromosomes and you are going to match them up, and they have to be, any two homologous chromosomes have to be the same size, and they have to be in the same pattern, so that otherwise they're gonna, it's just a mad scramble of chromosomes. So the first thing I'm going to take are these two here that have circles on it, which are labeled X, and I'm going to very carefully cut out the two X's. There's one, and I'm not going to cut anything else out, and I'm not going to lose anything else. You do not need to be losing your chromosomes. That would be a major genetic mutation. There we go. In fact, if you count all these chromosomes out, you'll see that there are 46. Now, these are X and X, and these, if you notice at the chart, we have 23 and we have 23. That's because chromosome pair number 23 determine whether you're a male or a female. So I've got two X's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue in that, and when I cut these out, I need to just trim a little bit off this one, and where it goes in, that's the centromere on the chromosome, that lines up on this dotted line, and this one here lines up right next to it like that, XX. Okay, down here at the bottom you'll see that XY. Okay, now this is a unique pair of chromosomes because it's the only pair of chromosomes which are not homologous, which means they are not a match pair. And it's pretty obvious when you look at them that the Y chromosome here is quite different from the X chromosome. Now, before we go any further, what we're going to do is we are going to label those two chromosomes. So grab a pen. Right. So if it's XX, that would represent the chromosomes that you would find in a female. Females have homologous chromosomes. They're the same length and they've got the same pattern. That's because they carry genetic information about the same characteristics. Over here you have an X and you have a Y. That represents chromosome number 23 if you are a male. So now we've got those done. So obviously it's going to be 1 through 23, but it's either going to be this 23 or it's going to be this 23. And I know that there are other chromosome patterns and other things. I'm just dealing with what's like the standard normal situation. I know we can get into other differences once we've kind of covered the basics. Now if you look here, you'll see this one says 1A and this one says 1B. And so I'm going to show you how I found the easiest way to match them up. So you're going to start off with the biggest pair of chromosomes, as in the longest pair of chromosomes. And you're going to trim that. So I've just trimmed one. Now if I was trying to find this, I've got one, I can bring it up next to them. And now when you look at those two, you can see they're the same length and they have the same patterns of banding. So that is a homologous pair of chromosomes. So by cutting one, I could bring it over to here. Well, clearly if I put them next to that one, they're clearly not the same length, or they're not the same length, or even one that kind of looks a little bit like it over there. You can see now when you put them next, they're kind of the same length, but they've definitely got a different pattern. Even if I flip it that way, they do not have the same pattern. So I know that these two go together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the one that I've just found, I've cut out. Oh, this is the longest pair of chromosomes. So I'm going to put them in the box number 1, and the bit where it goes in the middle is the centromere, and you always line this little bit here where it goes in the middle, always goes on the dotted line. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up my other one. I'm going to trim this one out. You notice that I am not creating loads and loads of random bits of paper everywhere. And although I do need to kind of trim that just down a little bit. And then if I've got this right, which I appear to, there you go in box number 1. Now, I think that that is the next longest one. So I will come in, cut this one out, like that. Okay, set it on my paper somewhere in here. I think there it is. They look the same length and the patterns are in the same arrangement. So this is going to go on box number 2. Take that and cut out this one. Like this. You need to trim it down just a little bit. A little glue there, and stick it like that. So I'm going to go through all of the rest of them. I'm going to go to the next longest one, which is probably that one there, cut that one out, find its partner, stick it in box number 3. And you're going to go all the way through until you get to something that looks like this. See these ones here? You can still see where it goes in. So this little bit right there, right? That little bit where it goes in, that's what will go on the dotted line. If you do them all, you will end up with the entire chart filled with chromosomes that get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And just so as you know, I think this little one here, that will be the last chromosome. That will go in box number 22. Okay, there will be a picture of kind of there will be a picture of kind of what it looks like in when you finished it all at the end.